going to go down every game this past season. We're going to go right back to the 2019 season and give our reflections. And it all started back in August. You probably saw my video. I posted on Hawaii Sports Fans, also on all my personal social media channels. But the the Arizona game that started the first game of the year that started this amazing season off. Shane, what do you think about when you think about that game? Let's start about with that game first.
The excitement is always brewing, especially first game. The tailgate goes off. It's a bigger crowd. And what a way to start the season, man. I mean, all the way to the wire. Pumba with that no give up play that went viral. Nationwide, coaches using that video as fundamental coaching. Just don't give up, man. Never give up on the play.
Yeah.
But just to start off the season that way, man, it just gave Warrior Nation like high hopes.
We talked about that first game. Always the game that you want to get off on the best foot forward, and we've done it before. We've also gotten off on the right foot and then sputtered down the stretch. And that almost looked like it was going to happen. But you bring in Oregon State next week, another close one, another one that goes all the way to the fourth quarter. But talking about to start the season, beating Arizona and Oregon State, 2 Pac-12 teams to start the year. I mean, that's one of those things we'd say that's a way to start the season if you're thinking next level bowl games, if you're thinking big picture. But things started to tail off a little bit the following week. We went to UW. So UW, that was a fun trip to be on. If you're with Hawaii Sports Fans, some of you watching, I see Corinne Sasaki. She was on my trip to UW. But, that was game environment. That was Pac-12 environment. That was next level for a lot of our fans who travel to understand what it's like to play in there. To be in a stadium, gargantuan stadium. Most of us were seated way at the top, looking down. But there was a 500 or so of us right on the 50, looking down. And talk. What are your feelings about that game? Obviously, we didn't get the win there.
Yeah. Well, first off, as a fan, my goal is to always go to at least one road game a year, and that was the game. Me and a bunch of my friends decided to go to. So as far as game experience, I agree with you, man. And, shout out to the Husky fans because our tailgate area, we were just surrounded.
Oh, yeah.
But, oh, man, we showed the Washington fans how UH parties, man, because they were all, joining our tailgate. And,
yeah,
it was good times, man. Good times.
Shout out to UH. Put on a great tailgate. Beforehand, we were there right on the, this is a super just picturesque, idyllic, foreground that you have, or background. Well, foreground as well. You got a great stadium, but put against that, oh my gosh, it is one of the most beautiful things to see in college football for sure. So that was the most enjoyable part. Maybe was the view, but we also had fun. That was a great trip, but we learned a lot of lessons. We were 2-1 at that point, and then season kept going. We came home and we played Central Arkansas. My feelings about this game personally, I just thought I didn't think we showed up really to this game. It was kind of a hard game to watch and stomach, but you're going to get a lot of those, and I know that the traveling is already something that I was catching up with the boys at this part of the season, and I mean, the season just started, but that's how crazy it is. You're already traveling more miles than most teams have to in a whole season in one trip. So, and that was just the first trip. But Central Arkansas got the win. That was all important. That was the only important thing, right?
Yes.
And then we go back to the road, and I think this is the first, game of the season that we say that this is the test. This is the Nevada is one of those teams we should beat. Nevada is one of those teams in the Mountain West that isn't on the top tier, isn't low tier, has had years of success, but the teams you got to beat. And I couldn't have celebrated my 5-0, my 50th, my 50th game in a row any better way than in Reno, Nevada, with all of my friends and everybody there. celebrating a 54-3 win. What happened, Shane? What happened that day?
Well, to go back a little bit on your little comment about travel and how it was hard, for our team, because obviously every year we travel more than NFL teams.
Yeah.
So when you talk about how taxing it can be on a football team, I came back from Seattle Friday before Saturday, and I was so tired. I have to admit, I didn't even make it to the Central Arkansas game.
Wow. See, no, I mean, it's taxing.
Yeah.
Look, you're saying yourself. I mean, this is something that is not easy to do for players. I mean, it's fun. Obviously, you want to play football. You get to get on a plane. I love getting on a plane. I love going to football games. I mean, that is everything I love doing and more. And I can say that it's by the 8th game of the year, I'm like good. I'm pretty good. Like, I'm good with traveling. Of course, I want the year to keep going. And having 15 games, it's a long season, and we had so many ups and downs, and Nevada was definitely one of those ups for sure.
Yes.
And then we stay on the road, and we go to Boise, Idaho for our first trip to Boise in a long time. Actually, that was my first time in Boise. So, being that was my first time, we had never played Boise ever during my 50 game. Well, now it's 60 games that I've been to in a row, but that was my first time going to Boise, and I knew we would be back, but I didn't know how we would do then. I would hope that we put up a strong fight, but the game was super late, first of all, 9 o'clock start, just crazy. And then you have to deal with the freezing cold. It's probably colder there. We haven't gone to the Mountain West Championship yet, but it was probably colder at that Boise game in when did we do it? October? Then when we went back in December. But one of those teams that is another litmus test. Can you take down the best team?
It's always the mystique, It's like, the Boise State. So I know people say we can beat them and stuff, but it's got to be in the back of your mind, If you have this whatever losing streak that we've had against them, and we still cannot win at Boise, it's gotta it starts to play mind games on you. But after that Nevada win, I thought, oh man, we get a chance, right? We get a good chance.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought get chance. This is the kind, get chance, and didn't work out. But then we came home, and this is when the height of Nevada, little bit crashing down Boise, and then Air Force. Wow, Air Force game was really a bad game.
Painful.
That was a bad game.
That was painful,
That reminded me of our Air Force game, Norm Child's last game. It was that bad. I mean, that level of, and I mean, in the same season. So obviously, I'm the most optimistic of our team, and I love our team, and I always think the best of it, but I literally felt the same way. I mean, that it was like, okay, this could all just be a fluke, or are we really this bad? And the players had to respond. And then the last time we were there, we got a new coach with that kind of result against Air Force. So I didn't expect that to happen because I was rolling with our coach at the time, who we'll talk about soon as well. But that was one of those games that could have been the turning point, could have been where things just go really bad. So and thankfully, we were lucky. The following week we were there in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, a really fun place for me and Fuchsia, I don't know if she's working or watching. It was our last place to visit at Mountain West City. So now we've been to every Mountain West city, and it's really fun. Lots of really spicy New Mexican food. If you really like I'm always about the culinary. I'm always about the cuisine, and New Mexican food is really different and really good, but extremely spicy. I mean, crazy spicy. So we went after. I just remember Ben Scruton's mom, Michelle, who comes with us to all the games. Her and I, after the game, went to go eat food, and We were just looking at each other like, we just need a nap at this point. We've just been up all day, tailgating, dancing at the game, running on the field, jumping on Cole after the game. But, you know, most of all, that was a great game to just collect ourselves back again and, you know, start really the second half of the season on a better foot. And that started with Fresno and, well, another one of those games. And I was on the field that game. That was really cool. But another one of those games, Shane. And just what do you take away from that one?
Oh man! Again, like it was another like roller coaster ride, high and low. Because after coming off that New Mexico win, I know it's just New Mexico, but with Hawaii not having a lot of success playing in New Mexico, and that run by Cole McDonald, I gotta add that 70-yard run where he just showed his speed. I was like, oh, this guy is amazing. And then coming in and playing, you know, one of the most hated rivals besides BYU, of course, but and to lose like that, it's like, ooh, kind of.
Just watching that field goal go through, that Fresno field goal. I still remember. I was standing next to my friends who were on the field with me, Sarah and Shauna, and Jesse Suppole as well. So I wish we could have won for Jesse Suppole, if anything. But
by the way,
Suppole, there you go, a Suppole reference already. Gee, I'll show him off. Well, at that point, a big turning point in the season. I mean, who are we at that point of the season? What is our identity?
Exactly.
We got the numbers. And this is when some of the rebuilding started because we're going to bring Cole's name back into this and we wish Cole the best. We love him. He's represented us well and played his heart out every game. But I'm most proud of Cole because he handled this situation, which that's the last time I'm going to use situation because it's not a situation to have two great quarterbacks on your team. It's not a bad thing. It's hard for me to have to hear people complain about that or say that it affects either one of them. Like, that's just for the team. We're doing it for the best of the team, and for our coach at the time who had to make that decision. That was a huge decision, and I give him. I mean, that was such a big decision that he had to make. And what it ended up doing was making both quarterbacks better and improving our play. So, you know, that might have been the $3 million decision right there. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, I know we talked about it earlier. I know a lot of people disagree with taking out Cole because obviously he was deserving of the starting spot. But when I look back at it now, hindsight's 2020. It's so awesome that Chevin has now gotten valuable game experience, you know, because we're gonna need him now, man.
You know,
we're gonna need it.
And that's the thing. You can't put a price on that. And Chevin got that opportunity even the season before. He's already had legendary comebacks for us. So giving him the chance to start San Jose, win the game on his own, was really, I think, beneficial for him. And it didn't hurt Cole. It helped Cole. It made him better. It made him hungrier. And that's Cole McDonald. Cole McDonald's a machine. He is an NFL body, ready for the NFL in that way, in that he can step up. He has the desire. Is he ready to do everything else? Maybe not yet, but he is absolutely a leader because of that more than anything, because he didn't treat it as a situation. He loved Chevin loved him. They always, talked each other up. You never saw them see it as competition. They never saw it as competition. So that was the hardest part for me, to have to see people make it a point. And, following week in UNLV, we're saying from the fan side, that was a crazy week. Obviously, the big tailgate we had in Vegas, legendary tailgate. And and that was just a great time to be together as fans. And UNLV is one of those games that that's our big reunion. That's where we can get the Ninth Islanders there, and it was a big contest. And what do you take away from UNLV? What was the biggest thing you remember from that game?
Yeah, besides your guys.
Besides Fuchsia running on the field, yeah.
So shout out to Fuchsia, man. That was legendary. But again, another place where we never had much success, and I'll never forget that the first time when I went to that UNLV when we were favored by 20 and ended up losing by 20, and that's another story in
Yeah.
itself. But
Yeah.
yeah, just
I
going
remember that
to
one too.
UNLV, already was nervous about it because, like I said, about our history there. But yeah, man, we pulled it off.
Pulled it off, and it was a close one too. And the defense had to
Yep.
step up too. And
Exactly.
it wasn't like Cole came in and saved the day. That wasn't that at all. I mean, Shevin had terrible throws. Cole had terrible throws. Shevin's got picked off by the other team, and he needed to come out. It
Yep.
was his time to come out, and that's exactly why we have two great quarterbacks for that exact situation. And Cole McDonald came in, finished the job. Didn't light up the scoreboard really. I mean, that pick six, one of the plays of the year, obviously. I mean, that's one of my top 5 plays of the year. That pick six that ended the game, and I was standing right by that pylon. I got to be on the field for that too.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment. So,
Davis,
that's how it is. It might come down to a big play, but at the end of it, all we can control is what we do in the locker room and how we, as fans, as teammates, they handle it so well. This is one of the closest teams I've seen, so I knew that they would handle it, and they did. But I was happy to see Cole lift the pineapple or the trophy after. That was cool, and see Fuchsia running circles, getting chased by security. that definitely made it all worth it. But then we come home and we play San Diego State. And that is the title game.
Yes. And then everybody was all nervous because even though we had our 7th win, that's when Aztec said, "Oh, how come if we beat Hawaii, how come we don't get the Hawaii Bowl bid?" So I was like, "Oh." So already I was like, "Oh man, we gotta beat these suckers." Man.
Okay, can we go back to the bowl thing? So I'm not gonna say anything, but there are people that were guaranteeing that we would go to the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah.
Huh? I'm sorry, but I didn't. Even at the time, I was like, "What planet are you from? Do you think that we're gonna go to the Las Vegas Bowl above the Hawaii Bowl? Come on now." It's just the understanding of how college football works and what's most beneficial to teams, what's most beneficial to TV, what's the most beneficial to conferences. It's a whole puzzle that people have to put together. And I'm glad we played in the Hawaii Bowl, and we'll talk about that game later. But this game. Wow, one of the greatest games in Aloha Stadium history, I would say, for UH. One of the most meaningful games. Played in front of one of the smaller crowds. And that would be something that I take away, unfortunately, because so many people missed out on what would have been a great memory for them to be there at the stadium. I know I was so excited because it means our season was going to keep going. We're going to go back to Boise.
Yeah.
We're going to try and we have a chance again. And not everybody got to see it, and that'll be a little bit of a sour taste. And from a fan perspective, we're fans. We're gonna be there. Tell Fuchsia, we talk about this all the time, Keely. We're gonna go anyways, even if it's just us 3 on the road. Well, we're gonna be there because it's fun. But we need more people at home. There's no excuse to having over 20,000. It's unacceptable. It's just very unacceptable. And that's all I'm gonna say about that right now. But that's not my job. My job is to be the best cheerleader, the best fan, the best support that I can be as the rest of us super fans. If you want to call yourself that, if you want to call yourself a big fan, that's your job. Your job is not necessarily to dump all your money into UH and support them. Like, just be an active, verbal, vocal supporter. Be somebody that spreads the message of the program that, hey, maybe you live in some part of the mainland and you see a good recruit or somebody under the radar. Whatever. You can always be helpful to the program. So I think there's a lot of ways that people can support the program. So I'm hoping that, more people will think about other ways that they can support as well. Because I don't want people to feel like, you know what I'm saying, Shane, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's tough. I mean, even for my wife and I and my tailgate Ohana to go into every game, it's not easy. I mean, especially with the economy now, it's like when you go to a game, you're like spending like a mini fortune. You gotta buy your food, you gotta buy your tickets, you gotta buy your, when you go inside, you gotta buy stuff.
Yeah, there is a cost, and you're right, and that's something that I'm definitely sensitive too as well. I don't want people thinking like, oh, you can just go and it's cheap or whatever, because it's an expense. And I know that there are a lot of people that would love to be there and can't because they can't afford to. So maybe we can start a program. Maybe we can do something. Maybe people, instead of donating, can buy season tickets and find a way that we can do an exchange. So that's one thing we can do. But one thing in mind, our fan situation. But you know, we had another home game, which was kind of awkward, right? The following week, and we played Army. And what do you take away from that game, the West Point game?
Well, I know everyone was saying, we're gonna lose because we're gonna have a net. We're looking ahead because we're gonna go Boise, right, to play for the championship. So for the boys to just, take it one game at a time, come out on top, I give kudos to them, man, because it's not, this game was pretty much not very meaningful. I mean, we could have rested people and stuff just to get ready for Boise, because that Boise game for the next week was for the championship, man. That's crazy.
And we did, and we pulled it out on senior night. It was nice to have the seniors go out with a bang. We had some great seniors. Got to honor Cole. We got to honor, just in case he wasn't coming back. And I think it was a great night to wrap it up for us. But heading to Boise, that was another. I'm gonna let you take this one for now, Shane. I'm still trying to get over it.
If you went through my photo gallery, because my wife took me, because me and my friends, we went to watch it at D&D's, and there's just so much pictures of me just like, so I'm like, oh man,
it's a hard one.
Heart-wrenching, man.
And that's the thing. I mean, some of those plays in the beginning, like the one on the goal line, you have to be able to get. It's the championship game. You got to get the ball in the end zone. Like, I'm sorry.
That right before the half too. Yeah. Did it?
Yep. Yep. So that's ended up being one of those games too that maybe after it's over, you say maybe we're not there yet. Maybe we're not in that class yet. We're not ready to compete with those guys. But we wiped the tears away.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, I truly believe if we were playing at home, that would have been a totally different
I agree.
story.
I totally agree as well. Totally agree. And I think we can do it next year or the next season.
Exactly.
Let's host. Let's be the ones that host. Let's make somebody come to Hawaii instead of us go all the way to Boise in winter time. Again, I wore my snowboarding pants but I was over prepared actually. It was actually not as cold. But that was a great game. Just to be there, just to walk in and see the banners, Mountain West Championship, and be like, oh, that's us. We're here. We're here at the Mountain West Championship. So it was nice to play for that for once. And then we ended it off, BYU. I mean, what can you say? Another one of the best games. I mean, what a season. Some of the worst and some of the best. And BYU is one of the best games for sure.
Yeah, that was. And it was crazy because I had to work that day. And I wasn't planning going, but throughout the day, I was listening to the radio. I was like, oh man, we gotta go. So I rushed to the game, got there at halftime. And then I thought I was the curse because after I got there, we had scored 31 points. I get there and then we don't score nothing to the fourth quarter. I was like, oh man, what a machi. That was a game, man. That stop at the goal line when we made the BYU QB fumble. Oh, it was just like so reminiscent of Lisa's hit back in 2001. It was just that game was awesome, man.
It was awesome. Just one of those games that you ask yourself like, how did that happen? 10-5 after all the ups and downs. How did we still get 10-5? What a great year! One of the best years in UH history. At the end, that's what I'm going to say. And I've really enjoyed the last era of UH football, we'll call it. And didn't miss a game. I didn't miss a single game, whether we were in Australia or Michigan or at our stadium, and it was a great ride. So, but with that being said, we had a great a 10-5 year, but things changed right by the end.
Exactly.
So somebody, I said, Roloed on out of here, but the first reference, and what was your initial reaction, and how did you find out? Put it that way.
How did I find out? I found out because somebody texted me. Rolo's picked his tweet with the cougar on the tree. I was like, that's
fake news, fake.
Oh yeah. And then when I just kept starting researching, because my friend started texting me and like, is Rolo leaving? I was like, he's not leaving. And then I see, oh my God, he's leaving. And I was kind of hurt, just like I kind of. Compare it to when we lost the Sugar Bowl and I was all depressed at the airport waiting to come back home, and then the guys next to me go, "Hey, you heard June Jones leaving?" I was like, "What?" So I just went like, everything just was rolling downhill, and I felt sad because out of all this, Rolo was like the first coach that actually we knew each other personally. Like if we saw each other, he'd be like, "Hey," and we talk and stuff, and I love him. Like, but it was like, how can I picture? Like, your dad leaving. Like, dad leaving. Like,
I know.
I love you.
Yeah.
But I still have resentment towards you.
Yeah. There's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I love you, but I still have a little bit of resentment towards you. But, and the same thing, like, at the end of the day, I mean, it was hard for me to believe at first because I didn't see it. I mean, I certainly thought it could be a possibility, but I didn't see it happening. Yeah. This is the guy that I genuinely was emotional over when he won the Mountain West Coach of the Year. Just seeing our name up there again as winning something on the conference level and something prominent like being Coach of the Year. And I was like, wow, it's so awesome for Rolo. And, the day that I found out, I mean, I didn't know for sure either. It was all texting, and his Twitter confirmed it when he deleted everything and stopped following somebody. But, that's how some people react to their departures, I guess. They just change everything on their Twitter. And, Rolo is always going to be in our echelon, in that tier of great UH athletes have done amazing things, and that 8-touchdown game is never going to be forgotten, and his time at UH will never be forgotten. And he did so much, and he was a lot of our success in 2019. So I'm going to give him that. But in the meantime, I'm not sure I want to find out everything that he's doing or know about how well he's doing. He's a warrior for life. He's a bow for life. He is us, and one day he might come back. Who knows? He might be our coach again one day. And it's not because he'll phase out. He might do well and go to Oregon, win a national championship. Who knows? I think Rolo has the charisma to be a head coach. He doesn't just have the talent. He knows how to carry the mantle as a head coach, and that's what's really important. That's what I don't think Coach Chow really had and admitted to, is when you assume that role as head coach, you are required to do so much more than X's and O's. And I think Rolo did that very well. So I give him that. Nick Rolovich, coach, sending our aloha. But if we play you guys.
Rolo definitely thought out of the box. I think Chow, the best thing Chow did that I wish Rolo kept was the warrior walk. When the players would come up the thing, because so many kids would look forward to that and they'd be all excited. Oh, the players are coming! So it would just be like the crowd would just come down, and then when Rolo took over and all the kids came, like, oh, where's the players? And they were like, oh, they're not doing the warrior walk.
Well, I think that Coach Chow, still, there are things that we can say about Coach Chow. You
Mostly
know,
bad, but
yeah, but there are things that he definitely did that like kept our APR. If our APR wasn't that high, when we were
Mhm.
had a losing record in 2017, we wouldn't have gone to a bowl game
Yeah.
if our academic scores were too low. So
Hmm.
that was a win that allowed Coach Rolovich to go to a bowl game his first year in 2017, which is another one of my favorite years, or 2016, um, and definitely one of those years I was. It's like we got blown out by Michigan and we still end the year on top. I mean, that's the thing. That's being a UH football fan that no one will get, no one will understand, is those kind of roller coasters, these kind of traveling, and that's what makes our program different and unique. But also, saying aloha to Coach Rolo, but the TG era has begun
Win every day.
at University of Hawaii.
Yes.
What do you think? What's your first thoughts about this?
Well, on paper, it looks good. He says all the right things. Seems like a very good guy. Whole coaching staff actually seems good. I know a lot of us, including myself, at first wanted somebody within the staff to take over just to build on our momentum. So honestly, I was kind of shocked when Matlin decided
Yeah.
to go with his Graham decision. But I mean, that's what he gets paid for, right? He makes the bucks to make these
Mm-hmm.
decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I just like to imitate my Graham because this is my Todd Graham imitation.
Okay.
So we're gonna play with tremendous speed and physicality. It's like, don't you think he said that in his initial conference? I was like, oh, he said that like 20 times. We're gonna make tremendous speed and
It'll be used
physicality.
to. Now that we gotta talk like this, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. We're gonna
But
talk
yeah,
like
I mean,
McConaughey. Can be on the sideline like McConaughey at Texas. When to be. All right, all right, all
no,
right.
I'm excited. I mean, but we'll see. But my other concern too is if he's like successful, another 10, 11 win season, we go to another bowl game, and what another school's gonna be like, hey, come coach us. Okay, peace out, boy. I'm
Yeah,
gonna make
and that
5 million
it's
over
a
here. Like,
possibility. I mean,
yeah,
that would be a nice problem, honestly, than what we are in right now if that
yeah,
was to happen. But
yeah.
Coach Graham is someone that's obviously like you can't argue with what he's done and where he's coached and what he's been able to accomplish. And he even did it against us in our own stadium. I mean, that was one of the worst games I ever
Yes,
been to, that
Tulsa.
Tulsa game.
I know.
And
Oh,
so he clearly can do the coaching. But in Hawaii, like we say, it's a very unique situation. Understanding our culture, understanding who we are as local people is paramount to running this program. And
yeah,
anybody that thinks, and this is somebody like myself who has administrative experience in NCAA, I know for a fact that this is a very unique place. Every place has unique challenges.
yeah.
Every place. But for a Division One school, for a Division One FBS school, the challenges are crazy. And you're going to have to pay subsidies. You're going to have to, we're doing all these things that are just taking money outside of our, of what we could be using for football, what we could be using for other things. So I think
Right.
Todd Graham is going to come into a lot of issues he's never seen before. He's going to see it. He's going to have a lot of people treating him better. I don't say better, but in a different way, in a closer way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people have always loved having him around in the program, but in Hawaii, sincerely, you're Ohana, and you're sincerely somebody that
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
loved and beloved on the island. So understanding that is important, but making that effort to reach those people who are going to accept you. In Hawaii, we're very accepting very quickly as well. And, how are you going to bring more people out? I don't know if Coach Graham has been on the phone. I'm going to go back to attendance again because this is a good place to bring it in. And this is where, he likes to work in development. He likes to bring money. But, he can do a lot to help attendance. He can call season ticket holders. It's
Yeah.
it's not easy. He's a very busy guy watching tape, but there are people that haven't renewed for years. Why haven't they renewed? There are people that haven't renewed from last year. Why haven't they renewed? Why have people lost trust? Why are we hemorrhaging fans along eras? Even though we're winning, So let's make that known. I want to make sure we say that on the stream. Winning doesn't change everything. We just figured that out. So I don't want to hear anybody type that or hear them type it unless you're a really loud keyboard. But you know, I don't want to read that. I don't want to. That's ridiculous because people are just not going to come for winning. We won 10 games in 2019.
It has to be. They have to make that stadium experience better, like how they did with the when the Rams Cowboys. I mean, that was a show that they put on.
Yep.
But when you go to the UH games, it's like we all talk about the sound. Yeah, that sound system is like, you can barely understand what the guy's saying.
And that's the thing. You know, our stadium we can only control so much, but there's things you can do in the stadium as well. There are things you can do to enhance the stadium as well. You know, what are some of the things that your friends tell you when they don't want to go UH game with you? Because you have a nice crew going in the south end zone, but what are the ones like, nah, Shane, I don't like go. So junk. Why do you tell them?
I just tell, they all know that I'm crazy fan. And then I gotta give, and the reason why I gotta give a shout out, this is, where's the camera? Oh, here. This is my grandma. Bless her soul. She passed away recently, but
yes,
Grandma
sending
Ishii
so much
was
love.
who she started taking me to the games when I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a UH fan, and usually when kids would go, they would meet up with their friends, run up and down the spiral, throw popcorn over the edge, try hit people. But not me, man. I was so in awe with the game.
Yeah.
Grandma would teach me so much.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why
Beautiful.
I still go to this day. But my friends don't go because, I mean, and my friends are huge football fans. And the reason is because, the stadium experience, I mean, first the parking, they made the parking a little better. But I don't know if the sheriffs, last season it was a little better, but the sheriff situation, they're so inconsistent. They tell you, one week they tell you, you cannot do this. The next week, you can do this. And you start doing it. And then the next week they tell you again. And it was so bad. Like, they have this line, right, where you can't park forward past this line. And like some of my friends' cars were just like touching the line, and they would come back to their car, and there would be a ticket on their car. So it was like so crazy, you know.
If you work for Aloha Stadium or listening to this, there are real problems with your facility.
Issues.
And for someone,
I've actually seen one of the Aloha Stadium ushers telling a fan to sit down and stop yelling so loud. I was like,
probably this one. Probably this one in the front row. It doesn't matter if you sit in the front row for 13 years in a row and never miss a game. They'll still find somebody to tell you. I look at some of them and I'm like, you know what you're doing right now? Like, you're just ruining the game. But
I know.
You know, like, that's just a challenge that we have to deal with in Hawaii.
Yes.
That's just the way bureaucratically we're set up. And I would hope that on the the department side, they'd find a way to increase, I don't know, some kind of excitement. Turn up the volume, literally, maybe, in the stadium. Last year, 2 years ago, Rebel Soldiers, I think, performed on the concourse. That was great. That was different. I mean, finding different ways to bring people out. It should be something. To me, my vision of UH football is somewhere where everyone is thinking about it. It's on top of mind all the time. When I'm in Boise, when I landed there for the Mountain West game, everybody knows what's going on in Boise. Of course it's Boise. Everyone knows. Not everyone watches football, but everyone knows not only that Boise has a game, but that it's the Mountain West Championship. How many people, choke people, came up to me? Oh, you're here for the game, right? You guys, Hawaii, yeah? Oh, yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, you going? Oh, no. Like, all of them. Nah, it's too cold. It's like, oh, no. Oh, you watch football? Oh, no. Like, they don't even watch. They just know. It's just It's
They
Boise.
know
It's
that
Bronco. It's Bronco life there in Boise, where everybody has something orange and blue, and everybody knows what's going on in their town.
I saw your guys' videos, like you and Fuchs. Even their airport, right? It says home of the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
Right in their
Yeah.
airport, huh? So
And this is, I mean, this is the home. Hawaii is the home of the Rainbow Warriors. Who else is here?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. It's time to step up if we want to be taken seriously as a Division One program, and especially as we're entering a new era of autonomy, of money for the Power Five schools who are able to really pick and choose who they want. It's even harder to find diamonds in the rough because so many guys are just transferring every year now. So many guys are just who maybe nobody knew about. Now their tapes are all over Twitter. So the world has changed, and you have to, you have to keep up with it, and you have to be able to keep up with the world of college football. It's not something that is stagnant. It's just like running the same offense. Somebody's running a wishbone, you'd be like, huh? It's like things change, things evolve. Stadium experiences evolve. The way that PA announcers talk during a game and narrate the game, those things are different. Those things have changed. And some things haven't changed at Aloha Stadium for a long time. So perhaps when we change those things, that's one step closer. But there are things that we can do. It's not everything as woe as us in Hawaii. We have in a unique position. We have a great place to be. I mean, there's so many things that make us worthwhile program to support and to follow and to be a major fan of. I mean, for everybody in Hawaii that loves football, there should be more people coming to UH games. If you really love football. And how many people in Hawaii talk about, I like football, I watch football all weekend, cause Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man. Okay, then come on Saturday nights once all the games power ready, because all the games are done. Our game is the last game.
It seems like people here take more pride in like their NFL teams.
I know.
What the bro? Come on, it's Hawaii football, man.
And it's okay, like people being a fan is a fan. I love the experience of just being a fan. Like, most people turn away when they see you and your Seahawks stuff or your Raiders or Raider fans. People are like, they have you're gonna elicit a strong reaction whenever you do stuff like that, right? Because NFL rivalries are so strong and they're like so palpable, even in Hawaii where we don't even have any NFL teams, but people are so committed. So I'd like to see that level of fanaticism for UH, and I think it's possible. We're about 50 minutes ago. We don't want to just go too much longer, but if we have anybody, sorry, I didn't even go over. I wanted to look at any questions. It might be kind of soft. I can turn it up louder. It was too loud before. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit louder, but last time it was kind of like broke. So thank you for letting us know, Peter. Peter said it was kind of soft, but Joe, there's Joe. I know Joe. He's Joe Rice. You see him in the comments. Former former athletic director. I think he was the SID, but I'm not sure if he also was this. I don't want to mess up Joe's title, but basically, he was the man in charge of everything at Azusa Pacific, anything that went out, media-wise, and he left a comment about our new DC, our new defensive coordinator, Dos Santos, and who came from Azusa Pacific. Actually, I have something for Joe.
De La Cruz, huh?
So, all right, I got this actually. This is for Coach Victor if he's watching. This is his APU Cougars. So this is a gift from Joe, because Azusa Pacific, where Coach came from, is also the school that one of my favorite players of all time. We're gonna go back to the NFL. Christian Okoye, one of my favorite players. My aunt sent me a Christian Okoye jersey when I was really small, and that's how I became a Chiefs fan. And I can tell you, of course, I love sports on a different level. Like, I'm just always thinking, like, all day I dream about sports, like Adidas, right? Or they said something else in elementary school. But anyways, like, people are actually emotionally invested. A lot of it's hard for people that are non-sports people to understand, like, the emotional investment, but also the fact that, to me, sports is utilitarian. It's like everybody can participate. Everybody can have a good time. Everybody can get something out of it, whether you're watching, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, whether you're a media. And that's why it's brought us together, especially in times like this. I think that's why a lot of people are missing the sports, because it's something that one of the few things that people can agree on and watch at the same time.
Yep.
Anything, Shane? Any words of wisdom you want to just share? How do you talk about this? Our first live stream experience. Not bad, yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Thanks for the idea, man. Thanks for including me. Appreciate it.
Well, I mean,
usually I'm just behind the scenes, but when I'm at see, guys making comments over here. But when I'm at every year, it's funny because as I age, I always tell my wife, I'm getting older. I might not be as as vocal, as loud, as excited.
Yeah.
But once I step onto the Aloha Stadium grounds, it's like some inner person comes out, and that's why laulauhead is my, my
your id,
ego, man.
Your id inside of you that comes out.
Oh,
but okay, so laulauhead, we got some questions for you. So we talked about this a little bit. Vegas had odds at over under 6 wins.
Oh, yes.
So if there's no season, does 0 the answer? I'm so confused by that. But Peter Sampaga says we're gonna get 8. That's a pretty solid number, I think, as well. I can see
I'll
that
take
as well.
that.
I think we have talent. We have people that can run the offense, can run an air raid-ish, whatever we're gonna call this offense. And I'm excited to see Chevy. I'm excited to see the receivers working out with him. I'm a little disappointed that we don't have. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get a spring, and I think that'll be one of the biggest things that hurts us. We're not having a spring, and
especially
I think if we
with the new coach coming in, I know all the teams are in the same boat. We're all at a disadvantage because nobody's getting this extra practice in during spring. Mm-hmm. But for the teams that have a brand new coach, and shout out to our former DC, Aranda, who's a new coach at Baylor, even then, they're in the same boat because they're missing all these practices where they need to gel, they need to be on the same page, they need to learn the new coaching staff's, ways. And, we just gotta see, man. We just gotta
see. Well, we got the mayor, the Yamamoto in the house, our Colorado gang. You guys gotta come with us on the road. Whether you come with me and Hawaii sports fans, or you just come and chill. It's such a different experience just to be out there and see all of our expat friends and our friends that moved around. But the Yamamotos are the legendary Yamamoto clan out there in Colorado who attends a lot of events. So if you see him, you saw that flag I had in my New Mexico in our videos there, the tailgate. Yeah. But check out some of those. Shauna's asking our best incoming recruit. You gotta answer for that one. Best incoming recruit. I don't really have one off the top of my head.
Recruit. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think any help to our O-line I think is good, and it looks like and I love our O-line. I think they played exceptionally well, but that's one of my places I'm like, if we can give protection, anything can happen with our offense. I mean, it's the players that we have, who I still think are very talented. Yeah. No matter what somebody said when he went in front of a press conference and said that he's in front of the most talented players ever.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are talking about Day, the running back.
Yeah.
But hard, to say.
It's hard to say. I think this year, especially because of a coaching change, it's one of those years it's hard. But I see GJ was out there, Kenny, making some signings, and on Twitter he's making so. Impressive. It looks like they're making some from. Oh, there's Cave. Everybody, Cave Key, if you can go find him, you see him there, you got to check out his raps. After every game, he's done a few. Go check out his page. I'm sure they're public. But you see him in the comments, Cave. We were calling him Kavai. Because, we're polyfying his name. When we met him in UNLV, he goes, Wayne, my name is Cave. I was like, okay, I'll tell everybody to call you Cave. But he's the man. I mean, his stuff is so good, and the players were singing it. The players were singing his song on the field last year. How freaking epic is that? That's how impactful it is. So thank you, Kave. Mahalo. And how easy
his new chorus. He has a new one.
His hook,
it's
yeah,
catchy too. Yeah.
the 8 Island shoot.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
So go find Kabe. He's there in the go look at his videos. He's on Twitter or he's on Instagram as well, I believe. So I mean, that's one of those things I'm proud of as a fan base that we have people like that so committed and people that can enhance the fan situation, the fan experience. And I would put it, this is just a hint. If you are in the department, you should probably share some of his stuff because
exactly.
I don't know, you might get people, it might get viral or something. The players were literally singing the song on the field after they won the Hawaii Bowl. So that's pretty epic. So thank you, Kaveh, for that. Any more thoughts, Shane? It was a good. I didn't want to. Just about under an hour, but we wanted to.
Yeah, this is good stuff. We
just
get
some.
Only gonna go for like 20, 30 minutes. But...
Well, I know it goes by fast, but we just wanted to get some thoughts off our chest, but also get started.
Yeah.
Live streaming is one of the biggest. Biggest trends in the world right now. It's like 500% more people are streaming more. So I think this is the best chance for us to reach you. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen for me. Like I love doing these tours. I do everything just like Shane for my grandma. I have my grandma's picture back here, who is another one who, the reason I became a UH fan, and that's going to be it's a common theme for UH fans who are committed is their family and the generations before them that came. So.
But for those that don't know, isn't that why you started this whole tour? Wasn't it like a dream of yours?
Yeah, and I think it was. My grandma was always one of those people that loved to be at the games and go holo holo, she would say. So it was me bouncing on her knee when I was really small, sitting in the south end zone. Now I sit in the front row, and I'm crazy. But when I was really small, I just sat on her lap and ripped all of the confetti and then threw it on the person in front of me and pissed them off. But, that's what happens when you're, 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old. Yeah. But, I mean, those are the memories that kept me. That's what kept me grounded in this program. It's a part of my identity. I tell people, at my core is Hawaii football, really at the core of my identity and who I am. And that's why I started Hawaii Sports. That's why I founded Hawaii Sports Fans, because I'm passionate about where I'm from. I love to be from Hawaii. I love being Hawaiian. I love being able to have something so unique about me. I choose that. I choose, UH football over any other program just because we're different. Nobody's like us. So, people in the Midwest, sorry, just dime a dozen. You guys can, and whatever. It is what it is. I've been to lots of stadiums across the country, but I know passionate fan bases. I know that we're one of the loudest stadiums still ever. A lot of stadiums sold out.
Even with
next
20,
level. Even with 20,000. Even with
with
20,000. And I can say that having gone to plenty of stadiums in my time, I could say. And I think there's a lot for us to be proud of. So, that's something that you don't ever hear too much because people talk about the limitations, but there's so much positive about our program, and there's a lot that we're going to share. But brother Shane at laulauhead, go follow him on all the social media. And you want to plug your other describe your site, your Hawaii Football Net. What kind of site?
HawaiiFootball.net. I just try to keep the community informed. I just do research, see what news is out there. I used to have a blog where I would write. I gotta start that up again.
There's a lot of stuff that we all can start up while we're sitting in quarantine.
Writer's block.
Well,
so I gotta start that up again and stuff. But man, we gotta keep this up. We got the reason why Wayne came up with this idea was, man, we gotta keep our Warrior Nation engaged, man. We gotta. I mean, with the no sports, everybody fearing that we might not have a season. Yeah. But we gotta keep our Warrior Nation fire burning. Yeah. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, mahalo everyone who stayed out a whole hour. Mahalos. Thank you for everybody who at Kalamai. We had a few technical issues, but that's what happens when you're using a bunch of new software. And I literally had to teach myself a bunch of these things last night. But at the same time, this is the future. So everybody get used to live streaming, get used to sharing your talents, get used to sharing your thoughts with the world, because that's where we're headed. But for Shane, I'm Wayne. And we're going to see you guys next time, okay? Aloha.
Mahalo.
We're gonna win.
It's game day. It's the first game of the season. Aloha Stadium. Here we go. This is Wayne Coito from Hawaii Sports Fans. I don't know what this is. It'll just be something fun. Let's just play around with this a little bit and make something. See what happens.
Let's go Warriors! We're gonna beat Arizona tonight. Awesome. Oh.
Kick butt. Game day. The smell in the air. What more is there to life in football season but this? All your best foods, all your best friends, your favorite sport, everything all in one place. I mean, that's life, right? And in Hawaii, we know how to do it right. We're making it interesting, but it's okay. It's the first game of the season. Okay, back to the fact that it's now tied. Oh, we won! We won. It was amazing and glorious, but also extremely stressful. Some fun. Yeah. 1-0, baby. 1-0. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it.